Cost of living in the Philippines. It has been a few months since I did one of these videos. I've done several since 2016 when I first started doing videos. I've lived in 6 different condominiums in about the almost 10 years that I've lived here in the Philippines. I'm not going to just give you numbers, although I'm going to give you numbers, actual numbers, and tell you about the progression that I've had over the years. Inflation has taken a bite, but I'm going to give you some insights and hints about spending money, controlling your expenses so you don't end up like this guy, empty pockets. And too many foreigners come here thinking they're rich. Everybody, all the Filipinos think you're rich, especially with the good exchange rate for the US dollar at the present time. But anyway, let's get into some numbers. The experts tell you that you should spend 25 to 30% of your net income only on your rent, on your housing. So I think that includes your rent plus your utilities, or your home payment plus your utilities. I think, depending on where you live. In actuality, reality, a lot of people spend a lot more than that because of the inflated values of properties in many places around the world. Anyway, let's assume that I realize I'm talking to people that have high incomes and they can pretty much buy what they want. People with very low incomes. Let's just say an average U.S. Social Security check of around $1,800 a month times 30% is 540 U.S. dollars, or about 30,780 pesos at the exchange rate today at 57. I think one of the best ways to compare properties when you're looking at it is the cost per square meter. Everything's metric here, so it's cost per square meter. If you've got 100 square meters, to get square feet, multiply by 10 and add a few. So 22 square meters, which is the size of a lot of these small studios they have now. 22 square meters times 10, 220, plus add some, you get 269 square feet when you actually do the conversion. So it gives you an idea anyway. I know a lot of my followers use feet instead of meters. My rent for a one bedroom, fully furnished, is 25,000 a month. Got a balcony, nice views of the city. I'm up 20 plus floors, and so mine comes out to about that. With utilities comes add another 100 for utilities, and I'll talk about electric here in a bit, and how you can keep your electric bill a little lower. Yeah, that's what mine comes out to, about 550 total, a little over that with the good exchange rate presently. You can find rentals here in Cebu City for around 15,000 pesos, which is about $265. When I came here with the exchange rate of around less than 50, that was $300. So the good exchange rate sure helps out. Now, you get out into the provinces, you can find cheaper things, 5,000, 10,000 a month for houses, apartments, that type of thing. I will include a video at the end of near the end of this video, showing you some of the options on a rental site. Show you some of what's available here in the Cebu City area. Yeah, let's get into the electric bills here. And you've got window type, you've got fans. If you just use fans, I know some guys, you just use fans and they're comfortable with that. Most of us want some air conditioners. You got window type air conditioners in most units, and some of the nicer units have split type. And split type with an inverter generally are less expensive, more efficient. Just for your information, I've got one window type and one split type. Like I said, I've lived in 6 different condominiums in my smaller units. My electric ran averaged around 2,500 pesos per month. 2,500. And now in the bigger, instead of 22 square meters, I've got 42 square meters. So almost twice as much space. I'm up a ways, so I have a lot of days I have my windows open, but when it gets hot, like May is our hottest month, I'll use more air conditioning. My bill and another hint, if you run these units on dry, if your unit has a dry instead of a cool, put it on dry and it will use less electricity and it will still cool your room out. Interesting enough, I just learned that here recently. But my electric bills are anywhere from 4,500 pesos to 5,500 pesos, 5,600 right in there. Um, so right at probably average 5,000, about 90 US dollars. My water, they upped our water rate, so my water used to be between 3 and 400 pesos. Now it's right around 600 pesos, about $11 a month. Drinking water, we get these 5 gallon jugs, probably about $9, about 500 pesos a month. Um, so let's talk. If you're if you've got shade, if you're in a house, a townhouse, a condo, and you get a little shade, or you're facing north instead of east or west, so you're not getting all that morning or afternoon sun, that might help keep your electric down. I've got a friend that usually stays in these 22 square meter smaller studios. He comes here for several months, goes back to the States, and he runs his aircon uh, every day, every hour of every day, and his electric bill can be anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 pesos in that small space. So it depends on how you handle the heat. I like a little warmer than the average person probably. The rate here in the Philippines, Visaya Electric in Cebu is I think it's right around 13 pesos per kilowatt hour. And our condominium, I think to help pay for the management company Colliers that they hired, increased our electric rate from 13, it went to 15, now it's 18. So that increased our electric bill every month. So check that. Some condominiums I found, not many, I don't think it's that common, but some will raise the rate and put that in their pocket up and above what the electric company charges. So the hotter it is in your condo or house, of course, your refrigerator is going to work harder as well. So there's kind of a trade-off there. We cook a lot. Mostly we cook in, so that's one of those costs as well. About food, some of you like to cook like I do. Others of you eat every meal out. So someplace in between. When I first came here, 2015, 16, I was averaging pretty consistently about 15,000 pesos, which was 300 US dollars a month on food, and about 250 eating in, and about 50 bucks a month eating out. Now the exchange rate is a lot better, um, and it's difficult. I'm buying more bulk. I'm buying larger things. If it I do the math, if it checks out, and it's a lot cheaper to buy in bulk, like coffee, I buy the very large containers, Kirkland coffee when I can find it. Inflation has had a major effect on that. Coffee was, I think, 7.99 for many years here. Now it's I think like 12.99. I find it occasionally for the same, I think, three plus pounds, the larger can. And I hear coffee is going to go up if it hasn't already. I haven't looked in the stores yet. Number of other things have gone up. If you buy more Western products that you can find in some of these stores, because of the peso exchange rate. It costs more to import them. Shipping costs for a number of reasons. Wars around the world are more expensive as well. So even though we have a better exchange rate, inflation can take a big bite out of that advantage. Shopping at the local market instead of the supermarket, generally you get much fresher vegetables and fruits, and also you save quite a bit, and definitely save when we go to the markets. There again, because I have a girlfriend and everything's included there, and we buy in bulk and we cook a big batch of something that lasts a long time, it's hard for me to come up with a good monthly cost for food. But I'm guessing just for myself, not including my girlfriend, around 20,000, which is around $350 a month at today's exchange rate. You can eat out quite cheaply, especially if you eat like a Filipino and you eat at the Filipino places. And I know guys who do that. Even in McDonald's here are much less expensive than McDonald's. Not the healthiest way to be eating, but to each your own. And a couple notes about food. You can find a lot of your favorites in the larger grocery stores here, but a lot of things you might not be able to find. They've got a lot of Koreans and other Asians here, so a lot of these stores they've got a mixture of different cultural foods in the supermarkets, not just the American type. And so you may or may not be able to find what you're looking for. Keep that in mind. Some of the larger towns and cities have an S&R or a Landers, which offer more Western brands of foods, and their membership stores as well. And they're kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they have a product that you want, sometimes they don't. So if you find it, buy a bunch of it at a time. That's what I do. Transportation is relatively inexpensive here in the Philippines, although it is frowned upon to have 7 people on one motorbike, in even 3. But once you get out of the city, or even just into the out of the main part of the city, you'll see 3, 4 on a motorbike, and fewer people using helmets, those sorts of things. But anyway, yeah, hobble hobble, motorbike taxis, taxis. Now, not every town has taxis. Dumaguete, which is very popular with expats, still doesn't have taxis. You've got tricycles, motorbike, hobble hobble, guys like this. You've got jeepneys and buses to get around, and the various islands. So you got jeepneys and tricycles here. Um, Planes. Luzon has some trains up there, and a few people have told me, boy, they can pack them in there just like they do the some of these buses and V-Hire, the vans that go around in different places. And it depends on where you're at. Vans or buses or taxis are available for hire, and you can hire a taxi for 8 hours for the day, or a van and a driver for several days, and really quite inexpensive compared to what it would cost you in many other countries. For instance, a 3.5, 4 hour trip from Cebu City going north to some of the ferry ports going to other islands, or south, way south, going to Oslo, or ferries going over to Dumaguete for 3,500, or over to Moel Boal. They'll usually quote you 3,500. The 500 tip is pretty common, I think. Airlines also, they have specials different times since the lockdowns, the pandemic. There's more and more domestic flights and international flights, and some of the airlines run specials from time to time as well. Relatively inexpensive. They are adding flights. Sometimes you got to go to Manila and have a layover to get to another island, but there are some direct flights as well, and that's an evolving situation. I average about 2,000 pesos a month. 2,000 pesos a month, about 57 or about $35 a month on transportation. Cost me a little over 100 to go from my place to Ayala Mall or SM Mall, for instance. If I go visit a friend in Mandawi, maybe 200 pesos over there and back, unless I walk back, which I often do. Cell phones. I bought a number of phones since I've been here, about 10 years. And you can buy cheap phones. I usually end up buying a phone for about 15,000. I think my last phone was 17,000 pesos, a One Plus brand, which isn't very well known here. And I only found one place in Cebu City that sold it. But you can buy a pretty decent smartphone here in the Philippines. A number of different manufacturers, a lot of them from China. You can get your Samsungs and your Apples and a lot of Chinese, Korean brands as well. You can get a phone that will do the job for two, three, 4, 5,000 pesos. Just depends on what you want to do, how long you're going to be here. Generally, the more expensive phones have more. Um, they, I don't know the technical terms, but they have more internal like gyroscopes and altimeters and noise gauges, just a number of different add-ons that you can use. Most people don't need all that type of thing, but it's there if you need it. Many of you will be signed up for a prepaid plan. You buy a SIM card and then you buy what they call load or credit. You put it on your phone. You can buy 100 pesos, 300 pesos, 500 pesos, 1,000 pesos, and then you should, if you don't know how to do it, go into the app on the phone and sign up for one of their promotions. I do that, and I sign up for every 15 days, so 2 times a month. I pay 250 pesos, and I get 15 gigabytes of data, uh, random data, and 15 gigabytes for watching YouTube or a bunch of other sites as well. So about 30 gigabytes of data for less than $5, less than $10 a month by the time I buy it twice during the month. And it can be a little confusing. I didn't do it for a long time, but once you learn how to do it, it's relatively easy and it saves you a bunch of money signing up for the promo. If you don't know how to do it, ask one of the people that you buy your load, your credit from, to sign you up for one of the promotions that give you talk and text or data. Will save you a bunch of money. Immigration, don't forget immigration. And I'm just talking tourist visa. Depends on if you're a different visa, that will vary. But tourist visa, basically you get your first month free, and then extending it 1 month the first time, and then after that you can extend it 2 months at a time. I think in Manila you can still extend it for 6 months at a time, but I believe I use a visa consultant agency, JRC. I've done a lot of interviews with him. But I believe extending your visa cost you right around 3,000 pesos, a little over 3,000 a month. So that's about 3,000 a month, right around 50 US dollars, I believe, something like that, close to that anyway. And then if you're traveling to the immigration office, anyway, JRC, and I've got a link in the first comment, first comment of every video I pin, his contact information. They can even, depending on where you are, they can pick it up. You can mail them different information, work with them on a number of different types of visas as well. But yeah, there's links to his site, the first comment of every video. It is so much easier not having to set aside a half a day or even a day to run down there and take care of that type of thing. Your internet costs can vary. You can buy if you want higher speed. They've got several levels of speed for internet, and some companies, some buildings have fiber optics, some have just the landline. I went from fiber optic with Sky Cable, had cable and internet, and it was about, I think, 1,600 a month I was paying. That was kind of unreliable. We switched back to landline with PLDT, and it's actually faster, more reliable than my Sky Cable fiber. So it just depends upon the building, because some companies, they might have fiber coming up to the building, but it's still copper wire going up to each individual unit. So a lot of things depend upon the logistics there. But anyway, now I'm paying 1,300, 1,300, or about 23 US dollars for internet, unlimited. And my average speed is about 35. And I usually get this wrong. What is it? Gigabits per second, something like that. Anyway, the number is 35, whatever the designation is, and I average pretty much right around that, going coming down, downloading, and maybe in the 20 range uploading. And I do a lot of uploading, as you know. Trips. The first couple of years that I was here, I budgeted $100. Back then, with the exchange rate, that was 5,000 pesos. Now 100 is 5,700 pesos. Because of the good exchange rate. But I would budget $100 a month to take a trip someplace. And the reality was I didn't take a trip every month, maybe every other month or every third month. And now that I have a girlfriend, she's busy. It's more difficult to schedule things. She can get, fortunately, she has a job where she can schedule several days off. I don't like day trips. We occasionally do a day trip. I don't like 2 day trips. I want to be gone at least 3 or 4 days so that you can go and relax. And because you don't travel very fast here to get to most destinations, it can take much of a day going to a bus or going to a ferry and getting off and then taking local transportation to where you want to go. So yeah, I don't. I want some time to relax. Anyway, that I think I'm sticking pretty close to that budget, but I'm doing it every third month, something like that, and taking a little bit longer vacation. For instance, going over to Bohol Island, renting a motorbike, and spending like five or 6 days over there, going around Bohol Island, visiting the various sites there. And let me mention motorbike rentals. While I'm here, generally, depending on where you're at, the real high tourist areas get a little bit more. Depends on what the competition is. Three, four, 500 pesos a day, right in that range is pretty average. And then the longer you rent it for a week, you rent it for a month, you can negotiate lower rents there. Entertainment could be a number of different things. Going to the bar, going to listen to music, bowling club, bowling. There's bowling. There's ice skating. SM Seaside has an ice skating thing. Movies. You know, I guess paying for Netflix, different things like that. Anyway, I spend about 3,000 a month, I think, on that. About 53 US dollars. Health and dental, that varies quite a bit by year. But when I first came here, I signed up for PhilHealth, and that was really inexpensive. And then they raised the rate; it's about 17,000 per year now. And the absolute major procedures they don't let the expats have anymore. But someday I'll do a video about that. Anyway, I've done a number of videos about insurance, and I'll link one of those at the end of this video. Health insurance. Um, my rate, most insurance companies won't cover anybody here. But there is a Pacific Cross that will insure health insurance up to 100 years old, and I'll put a link to that video. So my premium for that is right around 200. If you break it down uh, from yearly, adds up to about $200 per month. And over the counter stuff and the dental stuff I get throughout the year, probably another $50. So about 14,000 pesos a month. Girls, gifts, and gadgets. Several years ago, I did a video called "How Much Does a Girlfriend Cost?" and that got a lot of comments, mostly positive, but a few negative. I had a few Filipinos, a couple Filipinos that I knew, real estate agents that saw it, and they said, "I'm offended by that." And I did. I thought I did it very diplomatically, but anyway, some people were offended by it, so I eventually took it down. I've got a new video up, still a few years old, called I think "Girlfriends, Friends, and the Cost of Living," something like that. I'll put a link to the end of this video, and uh, I tried to do it more diplomatically, and I think I accomplished it because I didn't have the pushback on it anyway. And I don't have a number, a monetary number to put on this, but depends on your girlfriend. It depends on your budget, depends on your girlfriend. Um, Sooner or later, you're probably going to buy a girl a phone. Um, a friend of mine just came in town, a very new girlfriend that he has. Um, he bought her a new phone pretty quickly, and then she's looking at phones. Well, I want an Apple phone, So, anyways, he said, "No, you. I just bought you a new Android. And it's a pretty decent one. So, get used to it." Clothes, my experience here is that a lot of these Filipinos, you want to go to the beach, and they don't have a swimming suit. They may or may not swim. It amazes me how many Filipinos do not swim, even though they're so near all this water. And a couple have told me, growing up, their parents told them, don't go into the water. It's very dangerous. So I guess they have that fear from very young age. But yeah, you're probably going to buy some clothes for that girl. For you girls out there, are you going to buy the guys buy the guys clothes? I know I do have some female viewers, about I think 17%, something like that. Contingencies and stuff. I average around $30 a month, probably about 1,700 pesos on stuff. You need a sewing kit. You need some glue. You need some screws. You need just stuff. A hat, an umbrella. Um, that adds up. You get an umbrella. I've left so many of them in. I don't do it much anymore, but in taxis. So a lot of taxis running around with free umbrellas. But yeah, little things can add up. Um, Sunblock. You're off someplace and you forgot to bring something on a trip. You forgot to get a hat and you're walking someplace. Number of different things. Hopefully, you have a pretty substantial stash for emergencies. A couple different credit cards, and I've done other videos about what can go wrong with money and how to use it, how to transfer it. Anyway, a lot of contingencies that can cut into your budget, so just be aware of that and have a plan B and a plan C. Last but not least, and everybody, I'm sure there are several people going to tell me that I forgot about something, but charity. And I truly believe that I do my fair share of helping others, but I don't. I know there are some vloggers that make it a point of showing their charity works and that type of thing. I don't do that. I help a number of people, but I don't. 99% of the time, I never put any of that information up. I had somebody comment a while back about my joining my YouTube channel and the cost. Why would I give to you anything to you? You never give anything to anybody else. Well, in fact, there again, I think I do my fair share, if not a little bit more. So anyway, that's out there, and you should add it to your budget. However, you're going to make the world a little bit better, and it's good for others, and it's good for you mentally, physically as well, I believe. Before I give you the totals, I thought this was pretty interesting. If it cost you your peace, it's too expensive. And yeah, you don't want to be miserable. Occasionally I get, I think the people that complain on the comments on the Filipino YouTube channels and other places, they've had a bad experience. If they've gone into debt, they spent too much money, they've got scammed, whatever it was. So if it costs too much, if it sounds, there's scammers out here, so be aware and stay away from them. I'm going to give you the total costs. If I added everything up accurately, and keep in mind I'm using 57 pesos to the US dollar, the exchange rate. When I came here 2015-16, it was right around 48.5, and then it went to 50. So really a lot depends upon the exchange rate of your currency, whatever it would be. I think it's about 1,450 US dollars is my cost of living on an average month. Now, when I first came, I had a lot of months that my rent was less, my eating was less, even though that the exchange rate was lower. I was spending less on quite a number of different things. And my total does not include gifts, girlfriends, and gadgets, all those extraneous things, or charity. And then I've got a few expenses back in the USA as well that I do not include. So my Philippine budget, my average expenses, 1,550 US dollars, which is about 82, almost 83,000 pesos a month. I think that's pretty accurate. I think that's pretty accurate. Your costs will be different, depend upon your lifestyle and your income. One thing you have to keep in mind, you are responsible for your budget. Just because you get to see somebody put up a budget, oh, I live for less than $1,000 a month, 50,000, less than 50,000 pesos, doesn't mean that you're going to be happy doing that. And you always have to think about, sooner or later, you're going to have some type of medical expense. Keep that in mind. And then I'm going to add on here a video that I did, rentpad.com.ph. I just talked about some of the properties, some of the price ranges. For those of you who want to watch that, gives you a little bit of an idea what's available out there and the price ranges. Even though over the years, a lot of the rents have been going up. The price to buy has even gone up much higher, and rents, if you're looking for a return on investment, pretty difficult to get a reasonable return on your investment, because rents most people just can't afford rents that would give you a good return on your investment, put it that way. So anyway, I'm going to add that on here for those who are interested, and for those who are clicking off. If you're still with me here at 34 minutes, thanks for watching. Jumping over to a site called rentpad.com.ph, and I'm using this because they have it laid out in a fairly easy to browse type. Anyway, going to just go through some of these. I did a search for Cebu, and you can do the same thing for any place in the Philippines. And I'm not sure if they're in other countries as well. They're different sites in different countries. Anyway, I'm going to go through a few of the prices just to show you that there's a broad range and quality and area. And I'll briefly tell you a little bit about some of these buildings as well. I've lived in 6 different condominiums here in Cebu over 9 years. I have done many dozens of videos in condominiums, walking around and going in, asking if I can look at at condominiums units. So I know a little bit about the buildings and the areas, and you can go into the join site down the lower left-hand corner below my videos. There's a join button, and you can join and get a little bit of deeper dive on real estate, various things here in the Philippines, risks and other things. Anyway, brand new studio across from Landers, which is like a Costco here in the Philippines. Not as big, not as well stocked with American type items, but there are options. Anyway, 27,000 pesos for 29 square meters. So not quite 1,000 pesos per square meter. That's a good way to figure. And also, you take for square meters, multiply times 10, 290, and then add another 100 or 200, and that will give you approximately how many square feet you have. So multiply by 10, gets you close. Add a few, and you have square feet. So if this number is larger than the square meters, then you're paying over 1,000 pesos per square meter. I'm renting 42 square meters at 25,000 pesos a month for the past 3 years, and that comes out to 595 pesos per square meter, for instance. Fully furnished studio at Chatswood Residences. Now, this is I think once or twice a week they come up and bring you a change of sheets and maybe towels. A service department, basically, what it is. So 18,000 for 22 square meters. Fully furnished studio and city suites. This is an older building, but nice views. I think all the units have balconies. 17.5 for 28 square meters, so that's right around 650 pesos per square meter, I believe. Something like that. I figured up a few of these. This is Marco Polo up on the hill. 1 bedroom, 40 square meters, 32,000 a month. 2 bedroom, fully furnished, Chatswood Residences, 36.9 for 55. Now, one question you need to ask when you check these, because when you check these, some prices will include the condo dues, some will not. So condo dues often include, and I'm going to do a separate video about this soon, about renting and what to look for, what to ask. Some of these prices do not include the condo dues, some do. Important topic that you need to know the answer to. Anyway, this is kind of interesting. This is a townhouse, 80 square meters, and they're connected. Townhouses are connected, walls, and you've got, this would be actually 2 different townhouses, I believe. And so you're using up all your lot. You've got a parking spot here. You've got 2 stories, so the lot is about 40 square meters, I think. And because you have an upstairs and downstairs, and 17,000. So this is a little over 200 pesos per square meter. And it says fully furnished. The pictures that are there show it empty, but it says it's fully furnished and has a list of the furnishings, which is more like it's, fully furnished means different things to different people. 3 bedroom with maid's room in Avalon, nice place, older, larger unit, 125 square meters, 95,000. Newly renovated luxury bi-level penthouse in Avalon. Nice building right across from Ayala Mall, 259 square meters, so about 200 and 2,800 square feet, I would guess, something like that. 190,000 a month. So here's 22 square meters, 21 in Horizons 101, a very tall building here on Mango Avenue. Anyway, there are options at different prices. Mactan Newtown, 28 square meters for 16.5. And there are motivated people as well. This may or may not include condo dues. So that's an important factor. That could be another condo dues average from 70 pesos per square meter up to 100, or even some of the high-end places even 150 pesos per square meter. So that could add a couple thousand onto your price here. Anyway, just to give you some ideas of what you're looking at, you can get very well furnished. A lot of places will say fully furnished, but that might be a rice cooker, a mattress on the floor, and maybe a small television, and that's about it. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this. This is not a condo video, so I'm not going to go on and on and on about this.